It is time for another curious question.
It's like, come to our little corner for curious question time. So these are all the questions that you guys send us on our Instagram DMs.
Which is at Come Curious.
Yeah.
My question is, how do I get over the shame and guilt of sex? I grew up in a very religious background that taught abstinence, no sex before marriage. But like a normal human being, I want to have sex and explore my sexuality with multiple genders. But the idea and thought of it and previous experiences have made me feel extremely guilty and ashamed and causes extreme anxiety. I'm 22 and very inexperienced. How do I get over this hump?
It's really hard for us to answer this question because we don't have direct experience ourselves, especially if you have quite a strict background and upbringing.
It is hard for us to comment on religious backgrounds as neither of us have that much attachment to the religion that has previously been in our families.
Absolutely. But what we can say is that, of course, as you know, and you've said in your question that you know that you're a normal human being for wanting and having these sexual urges.
Yeah.
And that is completely true. Like, you are normal, and the fact that you do have these urges is completely animalistic. It's in your chemicals, it's in your nature. You're going to be, even if you were completely abstinent, or even if you didn't want to have sex, your body is still going to be telling you to find a partner and to have children, and that is just what being human is like.
Yeah, and just in society, I think that like being able to have sex and like being able to have relationships when you want, it is your like basic human right.
Yeah, it's so hard if your parents control that, or even just make you feel uncomfortable or shamed for feeling those ways and for wanting what everybody else wants and needs and is glorified. You know, you can't get through watching a film or a series on TV or talking about daily experiences without someone talking about love, affection, sex, wanting other things from people, having intimacy, because that's just
and it's also like hard seeing the world like move on around you.
Absolutely.
And you're like being held back by something that your parents and your family are telling you is what's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of the time maybe they don't necessarily agree with their own rules and with the rules that their religion or their background has told them, but that's the way it is, and that's tradition, and they're going to stick to it, because if they don't, then they will feel shame for it. So it's also a level of understanding where your parents and where your background has come from, and that it might not necessarily be their fault that they're causing this shame on you, and they probably feel shame on themselves.
Yeah. Sex and shame annoyingly always come hand in hand.
Always, regardless of your upbringing, your background, your culture.
Yeah, like things to do with getting an STD or having like one night stands, or like sometimes you always feel shame for being like irresponsible, or even
just being naked, feeling shameful for your body or for your own pleasure, or for looking at yourself and thinking, wow, I look great, or, you know, maybe wanting to give pleasure to yourself, especially with masturbation. There can be a lot of shame around that. Yeah,
but there are some things that you can do to get over this hump.
So we would recommend you're the age of 22 as in trying to have a separate life. And I know that can be really, really difficult, especially if you live with your parents and you're surrounded by them, and it is part of your culture to not be able to leave unless you find somebody or get married. You can find a life outside of that through work or through school or through friends. Especially confiding in your friends can be a huge release and a huge let go.
And it's all about like making friends and finding a sort of community that can make you feel comfortable with talking about these things and exploring your sexuality.
Absolutely. Like, if you have been brought up in such a strict household, you might even have friends that feel exactly the same way, or some might feel more strict and believe and have their beliefs that are stronger than others. So even talking to your friends, you might get shame from them, but not because of what you feel, but because of what they feel and what they've been taught to feel.
Yeah, we're really lucky with the age of like the internet that there are so many online communities. So if you just like go onto Twitter, you can find people that are in exactly the same situation that you are as well. And you said that you're like really looking to explore your sexuality. There is so many really positive LGBTQ plus like communities out there online.
There will be hundreds of people around the world experiencing exactly the same worries and fears and anxiety as you, even exactly from the same background that you have. It's just trying to find those people and connecting with them. And a lot of it is just about understanding why you have these feelings and why you should be allowed or why you shouldn't, why you've been told you shouldn't.
Yeah. I actually think it is really positive to go and see therapy about these, go to see a therapist about these sort of things as well.
I completely agree with Florence. Like therapy, even if you're afraid or terrified of doing it, or you feel like you have to hide it from your family, this could be something that can really help you manage your home situation and manage the way that you feel about yourself and relationships, and even help you figure out how you feel about your religion and culture and background.
Yeah, you can go through like the NHS or services like that to find therapy, but the waiting lists are really long. Therapy can be a little bit expensive, but there are also like therapists in training that are a bit cheaper as well. There are ways to like work around it. Like it's not always so expensive.
Yeah, NHS of course is completely free, but there is a waiting list, and there will be people there that are in the same mindset as you, and it's not, they're not trying to fix a problem. You're not broken, you're just trying to manage and get around this anxiety that all of this shit is creating for you, which is not fair. You know, you want to go out and have fun and explore and be free, and it's probably massively to do with the amount of control that your family might have over you. They're not telling you you can't do this and you can't do that necessarily, but that it's like that overpowering, or what would they think of me, and would I be letting my team down, would I be letting my family down just for wanting to do something normal. I
think the best advice is what you said earlier about just like distancing yourself from that like a bit, like find your life separate to that, and that's the life that you can then explore all these things that you're really keen to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to your friends and talking to people is a massive let go. Maybe if you're at school or university or somewhere, you could set up your own club. It could be a secret club for people who are in your situation that just want to sit there and chat about things.
Yeah, because you know, if you're sitting there feeling this way, there are so many other people feeling the exact same way, and they're just looking for other people like you to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. There might even be clubs out there already, or crisis lines, or charities that you can talk to. Just know that you're not alone, even at this time where you probably feel so alone and confused at the moment. It is such a tricky subject as well, because every person is different, every family is different, and every situation is different, especially if you want to explore everything that your body and your mind naturally desires. Like, thank God for the internet, and thank goodness we can connect in these ways. That the fact that you've actually reached out to us and asked us this question means that like you are ready to take the next step and do anything to try and fix this problem. You recognize that there is an issue, and like you're ready for change.
We really hope that this has helped you, and if it's helped anyone else, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode.
Yes, send us some feedback as well, and if you have any advice for this person, or if any of the advice that we've given has helped you, and tell us how and why, and give us your tips and advice, that'd be grand. Comment below, guys. We love all the community.
And if you have your own curious question, please DM us on Instagram, but please remember to write curious question at the beginning of the question so we can sift them out through all our
Find
other
it, yeah.
messages.
Well, thanks again, guys. This has been Curious Questions, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye. Go check out our new podcast, Fucks Given.
We have a guest on each week to discuss the fucks that made us, or changed our life, or, you know, gave us an epiphany.
Listen on Apple Podcasts,
Spotify,
Acast,
and Google Play.
and more. Don't forget to leave us a review and subscribe to the podcast.
Hashtag Fucks Given.